The M4 MacBooks are much closer than you think, and they're gonna be nuts. According to some reports, Apple plans to move its Mac lineup to an annual refresh cycle, just like its best iPhones. So they're planning to unveil the M4 lineup of chips as early as the end of 2024. And the first MacBooks to get refreshed are gonna be the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros. Yet before I tell you about the specs, we need to make one thing clear. Apple's redesign cycles are significantly longer than the spec upgrade cycles. The internals change faster than externals. The design we have now has stayed unchanged since 2021, and most likely will stay exactly the same this year too. Same design, same looks, same port selection, and as for the lineup itself, Apple has just settled on this new 3-model Pro lineup, and it's unlikely to change anytime soon. So we are gonna get the entry-level 14-inch MacBook Pro with M4, and the upgraded 14 and 16-inch with M4 Pro and M4 Max inside. According to The Verge, that quotes Bloomberg, the code names for these new chips are entry-level Donan, the mid-tier Brava, and the highest performing Hydra. However, Mark Gurman has said a few times that the base M4 MacBook Pro will be the first one to be unveiled, with the M4 Pro and M4 Max models coming either a bit later or in the beginning of 2025. But it doesn't matter really, all that matters are the specs. How much better will the M4 be? Long story short, a lot. There are no exact numbers about the specific number of cores and performance of the upcoming chips. However, we already know that Apple isn't going to shift from the newly introduced 3nm process. They just showed it last October, and leaks confirm that the next major chip upgrade, which would be the jump to 2nm, isn't expected until 2025, aka M5 lineup. But in the meantime, Apple could switch to the new 3nE process from TSMC for those new M4 chips, which would bring slight improvements to power, performance, and efficiency. So even if the number of cores will remain the same, we should still get at least 10 to 15% higher performance in the new machines. But the true focus of this update is going to be AI. We've already heard the rumors that the newest iPhone 16 lineup will have a ton of AI features, and apparently the same thing is going to happen to MacBooks. According to the report, the new generation of M4 and A18 processors used in terminal devices such as iPad, MacBook, and iPhone will significantly increase the number of built-in AI computing cores. The neural engine and AI cores have already gotten better in the M3, and according to Apple, are now 15% faster than the ones in the M2 chips, and around 60% faster than in the M1 chips. However, the number of these AI cores has stayed largely the same for a few years now, so even if the new cores will get the same 15% performance boost, we're still gonna get more of them. So the real gain could be much bigger, with the AI capabilities even doubling. These neural cores are responsible for the majority of clever features such as improved video and audio processing, real-time adjustments of color balance in videos, the AI-driven features in photo editing apps like object detection or AI-based upscaling. There are also many ways how these improved neural cores benefit the developers of all kinds even today. So even if you don't feel these improvements straight away, this is something that's happening on the inside, speeding up the things you don't really pay that much attention to. The same report also claims that Apple will also significantly increase the number and performance of the new generation M4 and A18 processors. This could mean that the new M4 chips could come with more cores than the previous M3 lineup. For example, the base M3 right now offers an 8-core CPU and 10-core GPU. M4 could get a boost to 10 CPU cores and 12 GPU cores. Add to that at least 10 to 15% performance increase for each core, better neural engine, and you get yourself a chip that's at least 30% more powerful in all tasks. Not bad, right? As I already said, the updates to the base M4 MacBook Pro will mostly be internal, and we shouldn't expect seeing an improved display or any other meaningful upgrades, but we can surely hope to get better Bluetooth and Wi-Fi versions. Also, the M4 chip could be the perfect moment for Apple to increase the baseline memory size from 8 gigs to 12, or possibly even 16. We don't have any exact rumors to back this up, but I think we could all agree that releasing a laptop with only 8 gigs in 2024 would be the worst joke ever. Around the same time time with the entry-level M4 MacBook Pro, Apple could also update the iMac and the Mac Mini with the new M4 inside. Devices themselves will stay the same as they are today, with the only difference being the improved internals. And 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros are definitely going to pack some punch. For starters, we're expecting them to get OLED displays. This May, we're expecting Apple to show us the M3 iPad Pro with an OLED display, and meanwhile, we've been hearing a lot of rumors about OLED coming to MacBook Pros. It would make a ton of sense to do it with this generation, even though the reports in this are conflicting. One report from February 2024 indicated that the new OLED MacBook Pros will only come out in 2027. But in December last year, there was a rumor hinting at the launch date as early as 2025. And as we all know, when rumors can't agree on something, they are most likely wrong. Chip upgrades this year may not be enough to justify buying a new MacBook, but an improved display and new internals, that could be the recipe for great sales. The mini LED that we have right now is great, but the OLED has many advantages over it. For example, when you're watching a movie in a dark room, all white or super bright elements have this halo effect to them, which is especially visible during the credit scenes. The OLED displays don't have such issues since every pixel illuminates separately, unlike mini LED, which basically divides the display into thousands of individual zones and then lights up some of them. OLED in the MacBook Pro will be much more colorful and possibly even more bright. We've already seen how Apple increased the brightness of their iPhone displays up to 2000 sustained brightness, and an Apple Watch this number is 3000. So yeah, if my Mac would be able to sustain at least 1000 or even 2000 nits of sustained brightness, would be amazing to work outside even under direct sunlight. As for those specs, everything that I said about the regular M4 is true for the M4 Pro and M4 Max. The M3 Pro right now comes in two variations, 11 CPU and 14 GPU cores, or 12 CPU and 18 GPU cores. The M4 Pro could have 13 CPU and 18 GPU cores as standard, and 14 CPU and 22 GPU cores in its unbinned version. If we count in all those performance gains that the new cores should bring, the M4 could be up to 40% more powerful in regular tasks and up to 2 times faster in AI-related workloads. If we apply the same logic to the M4 Max, it could get up to 20 CPU cores and up to 44 GPU cores. This is absolutely ridiculous. But this is just my guess because there are no exact rumors to back this up. What I'm personally really curious about is the amount of unified memory these new Macs will get. Apple's M3 Pro models offer up to 36 gigs of memory, while the M3 Max can go all the way up to 128 gigs. The M4 chip could likely add even more memory to the mix, or perhaps more memory bandwidth. Would it be far-fetched to assume the maximum of 48 gigabytes for the M4 Pro? And I don't even want to guess how much memory would Apple give to the M4 Max. 256 gigs? 512? I have no idea. These numbers kind of scare me, especially if we consider the eye-watering price of memory upgrades. What we do know for sure is that the MacBook Air with the M4 won't come out until spring 2025. Just a few months ago, Apple refreshed the MacBook Air with the M3 chip, so why would they rush things? With a 99.9% chance there will not be any external differences to the laptops. Most likely they will have exactly the same displays, the same body, the same port selection, keyboards, and so on. The only thing that's bound to change is the SoC inside. I am not even sure that Apple would upgrade the unified memory on these things. Even though I don't like the fact that the M3 MacBook Air still comes with 8 gigs of unified memory, for Apple it makes perfect sense to leave the higher amounts of memory for more expensive Pro models. I think the configs would stay the same, 8 gigs of memory and 256 gigs of storage in the base version. And that's it. Sad, but mark my word, that's how it's gonna happen. From everything I told you, it seems like the M4 will definitely be the generation worth upgrading to, bringing a lot of meaningful improvements. However, after I tell you about the prices, you might notice your enthusiasm vanishing away, because we have all the reasons to believe that Apple would increase the prices for some of the new MacBooks. To give you a starting point for M4 MacBook pricing, let's look at how much Apple asks for the M3 Max. The M3 MacBook Air 13 and MacBook Air 15-inch laptops start at $1099 and $1299 respectively, and I doubt Apple wants to price the M4 version of its cheapest laptop far past that. As for the Pro models, the base M3 14-inch MacBook Pro costs $1599 to start, while the M3 Pro 14-inch starts at $1999, and the big 16-inch MacBook Pro starts at $2499. If Apple were to raise prices in the M4 versions, it seems unlikely they would go crazy, most likely sticking to $100 to $100 increase. Understandable, but I refuse to accept that. Well, that's all we can expect to see this year. Sure, there is a slim chance that the proper 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros will also arrive at the end of this year. As I already said, the rumors agree that the beginning of 2025 sounds much more likely. This year would be really difficult to pick a MacBook, but we have a few great videos on the channel that could help you make the right choice. We've already dissected all the chips, all the memory sizes, and even made a list of mistakes you can make while buying a MacBook. So check them out next.